Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Macro Podcast. I'm your host, Douglas Dowell. Joining us today is my friend, Rebekah Taylor. Rebekah, welcome to the call.
Thank you, Doug. It's good to be here.
Rebekah, my favorite question to ask everyone is, what did you do before real estate? Just to get to know your background a little bit and where you're from.
Absolutely. So I worked in the tech space at both couple software companies and a hardware company doing sales and marketing for about 10 years. And I live in Lynchburg, Virginia. Always traveled a lot for the different companies I worked for and enjoyed that a lot. It was a great gig, made some really good money, but also experienced a lot of burnout. There was always quotas to meet and it got a little stressful at times.
Yes,
So
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Great background though. It seems like sales and marketing, if you can do that, you can do pretty much anything else in different businesses. So that's a fantastic background.
Yeah. Thank you.
You bet. And what grabbed your attention? When was it? Did you like, oh, real estate? Let me check into that. What grabbed your attention about real estate?
So my dad is actually a big investor out in Montana. So he started investing back in 2004 when I was on my way to college. He spent almost 30 years in ministry as a pastor. He didn't make much money. Feeding 5 kids was always hard. And so he always had a couple of side gigs to help, generate some income to provide for his family. So he tried a lot of different things. Some of them worked, some of them did not work so well, but real estate was kind of the key. And so he got into it. He has tried just about everything in real estate and done phenomenal. And it's been really cool to watch him over the years literally earn millions of dollars in this space. And so back in 2012, I'm sorry, he had been encouraging my husband and I, you need to get into real estate. This is where it's at. And so we finally bought our first property in 2012. And it was actually our personal home that had an apartment in the basement. And so we renovated that. The whole house needed a ton of work. We put a lot of sweat equity into the house, renovated the apartment, put tenants in, and quickly realized, this is pretty cool. They're almost they're almost paying our mortgage. This is awesome, and it's not a ton of work. I mean, I got to manage tenants, but overall, this is pretty seamless. And so we kept doing that on the side. And then as time went on, we're like, we should really add to our portfolio. And so we ended up paying off our house early. One of our goals was before I turned 30, we'd pay off our house. So we were debt free, living the life. And then we realized, we've got all this lazy equity in our house that we're not doing anything with. So why don't we do a cash out refinance? Rates are good. Pull all that money out and go buy more rental properties. And so that's really how we got started with our small portfolio locally. And it's been a really neat journey to be a part of that. Usually I had managed them early on and then brought on a property manager. And it's just been really amazing to see how much appreciation and equity we've built over the years through real estate. So much better than my stock portfolio.
Yeah. I personally have a thesis that it is 10x harder to be good at stocks than it is real estate. I just think it's a much harder game. And also you don't control it. And I'm not to say there aren't people that are really good at it. If you wanted to be a great stock person, you want to live that life, it's okay. I'm not going to talk smack on it by any means, but for sure, it's a lot harder. And you did say something that was interesting, Rebekah, that I'd like to follow up on. Did you find managing your own properties first helpful in managing the manager, so to speak? And how did that play out?
Absolutely. I'm so glad that I did it initially because I just don't think I would have understood all the ins and outs and what to look for in a property manager. I have experienced some challenges as a property manager, and I don't think a lot of people would be able to take advantage of me now. I mean, it's still possible, obviously, but I've experienced and seen so much now from the property management standpoint that now working with a property manager, I feel a lot more comfortable, just verifying and not letting them take advantage of me. I mean, there are some people out there that unfortunately will. My dad has stories about that over the years. He's learned a lot. And so I'm really glad that I did it, but I also realized that's not what I want to do with my time. If I can avoid that, if I can hire it out, have a good property manager, it's a great place to be. Now that's not for everybody. Some people really like it, and you can save, maybe 10% a month on your property management. So it really just depends on your situation, your time, what you enjoy doing, your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, and to that point, what did you find yourself gravitating to? You were like, it's not operations and not the asset management side. What did you find attractive in your role now and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So back in 2020, I left my tech job. My husband and I were trying to figure out, he was actually given a 3-month sabbatical and from his job. So we took 3 months off, traveled the country with a camper in tow and our 2 young kids, traveled all around the US. And it gave me this chance to really reimagine what I wanted my future to look like and to dream, and so
Mm.
as I thought about it, I was like, real estate is really a space I want to spend more time in. So how can I get started full time that's going to help me earn some immediate income? And so decided to go and get my real estate license,
Mm.
become a real estate agent, jumped into that and did really well the first couple of years, and then stumbled into passive investing in 2021 with a private equity firm locally.
Mm.
And they were looking for a director of investor relations. And so I came on board and worked with them. And then also another firm after that. So spent the last couple of years in that space with investor relations, sales, marketing, capital raising.
Mm.
And I really enjoyed giving friends and family access to real estate that just didn't have the time. They didn't have the resources, the education, maybe even the money, like to go put a down payment on a house. And so these, sort of syndications or fund of funds gave them that avenue to get connected and put their money to work for them in a different way. Again, diversify their investments because well, we all know like the stock market hasn't been great the last couple of years. So to have something else, and I mean, my like stock portfolio is way down here, my real estate's way up here. And so I love the fact that I'm now able to give people an avenue to invest their money and put it to work for them in real estate, some really great deals. So I'm sourcing those deals, sourcing those operators, finding the best of the best, bringing it to my investors. And so that's really my space that I love to be in. Again, we still have active properties that we own here. And that's been great as well. I still do a few transactions as a realtor, not a whole lot on that front. I love to help people on that front, but my place to be is with this investor, working with investors and helping them passively invest.
So let me get this straight. Sales plus real estate equals investor relations capital raising. No, the second you told me that, I'm like, I bet she really rocks at raising capital. That's incredible.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And so in terms of asset classes, what asset classes do you like and currently work with?
Yeah. So early on, the first firm that I worked for was doing fund of funds. And so we had a mix of asset classes in there, a small amount of multifamily. It was self-storage, a lot of self-storage, mobile home parks, some light industrial. So I've invested in that. I really like mobile home parks and self-storage. I just think they're amazing asset classes that don't require as much maintenance, I love multifamily too, don't get me wrong, but there's always something breaking. And I see that personally with my own assets here locally. I mean, I'm just always having things come up with them. And so self-storage, mobile home parks, there's just not quite as many issues, I feel like, and you still have issues, but those asset classes I think are doing really well. They're growing. I mean, there's just a lot of opportunities, still meat on the bone, mom and pop owners out there. Right now, though, I am focused on assisted living. That is an asset class that one of a close friend of mine, a partner, has brought me on board with a company that is doing a deal in Wisconsin. And I'm super excited about that. This is a funny story. I'll tell you really quick. My first home for my first 2 years of my life was in an assisted living facility. My parents actually managed an assisted living facility in Dallas, Texas. And so my dad reminded me the other night, because we had a webinar and he was watching it, that I had like 100 grandmas that were always, holding me.
Yeah.
It was a great place to live and, spending the first couple of years of my life. And there's just such a growing need for those homes. I mean, there's a growing number of elderly population and they need quality care, but they also need friendships. They need a place to spend those sweet years of their life and not feel like a burden to people, but to be able to enjoy and have community. And so I'm excited about this space. Again, there's just a growing need, but there's really a lack of supply. Yeah. And so we're seeing some phenomenal numbers on that front with this assisted living opportunity that we're working on, and really excited for what's in store there. So yeah, that's my focus at this moment. I am open to different assets. I want to know everything I can about them. And my focus is partnering with the best of the best, having really solid operators on the ground, because I can't be everywhere at once. I know my market very well, but I trust my partners, to know their markets even better than I do.
Yeah, I do feel like that's been our experience too, is when you're in the capital raising space and you want to do different asset classes and different areas, it makes more sense if you partner with other operators. It's really tough, I think, either if you're on the asset management side, to be multi-asset class. You have to be really experienced and have a lot of track record. With partners, it's like boom, instant, just leverage that relationship. And we completely agree. I think that's a fantastic strategy.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Rebekah, I'm fascinated. Does it sound like you guys will be doing some ground up stuff as well with the limited supply that's out there in the market?
There's a possibility. So the opportunity that we're working on, there's 5 buildings in Wisconsin that are all within a close vicinity, like 30 minutes from Milwaukee. 4 of them are, and then there's one more building further out. But we've got an extra 1.25 acres of land. So there is a chance maybe in the future we would build on or continue to look for more acquisitions that we can make in that space. This is an off-market deal and we're getting it at a discount. I mean, the seller is phenomenal. She's going to stay on board and continue to help with the operations initially. And so that's really cool. She believes in it enough that she doesn't want to just jump ship. She's ready to help be a part of the transition and make it really smooth for the tenants and the staff. There's a large staff there to make this place run. So I love the fact that she's going to stick around, and she's actually investing her own money as a limited partner in this deal. So that's really cool too. And I think that there's some opportunity there locally, but also as we look outside in the future, I hope that there'll be more growth. I think there's just a ton of opportunity in that space.
And it just seems like the demographics really favor that asset class so well. It really seems to be the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Rebekah, I really thank you for joining us today. And before we wrap up, I do love to ask this question when I get a chance. What are your favorite mindset tips in terms of, keeping a positive mindset? Because every day is not unicorns and rainbows in this. It is sold as like just a beautiful dream, and it is, but like most things, there's a lot of effort involved. How do you keep a positive mindset, and how do you work on that aspect of things?
Yeah, good question. I read a book a couple years ago. I'm sure a lot of you have. You might have too, Doug. The Miracle Morning by Hal.
Oh, yes.
I love that book. I love that book.
Fantastic.
Yeah. In that, I try to start my morning with his formula, and I don't every day. I have kids, there's some days where, man, they're waking me up at night. I'm tired. I cannot get myself out of bed until they're like pulling me out of bed, like, feed me, mom.
Right.
But ideally, it's getting up really early and going through that formula. I spend time. I try to spend time journaling. I'm a Christian. I read the Bible. There's a couple of things that I think have really helped to guide me when I start my day like that. It really helps start me off on the right foot. And again, it doesn't always happen, but then also getting out and exercising is also something that's so valuable to me. Yeah. It is rainy this week. I haven't gotten out today and it's driving me crazy. Yeah. I really want to go take a walk. But that's one thing I think when I'm feeling a little down or discouraged about something, just getting out and getting some fresh air, seeing the beautiful world that we live in. We are so blessed to live here and just, enjoy the greenery, especially this time of year. And so that's one thing that has also helped. And then I would say surrounding myself with positive people, like if you're with people that are down all the time, you're going to be down, you are the
100%.
The top 5 people that you spend the most time with. So that is like probably the other number one thing is just surrounding myself with the right people. I mean, my kids just have so much joy. It's amazing. Like nothing phases them or not much, so just getting around them, they bring a lot of joy in my life. My husband, close friends, family, when we can go visit them. My husband and I are big on traveling. So every year we try to go somewhere new internationally. We just went to England a couple of weeks ago, and that was to celebrate our 15th anniversary. And that was a blast. It was just
happy anniversary. That's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So just, getting out, enjoying the world, enjoying nature, enjoying people, and also just having those moments of solitude is really important.
I could not agree more. And thank you so much for sharing us your tips and your experience with that. I think every entrepreneur that goes through this stuff, but it's 110%, and not everyone gets it. And it's hard to get good advice from people that don't get it. And then of course you always have the naysayers that they just will never will. So you just can't, you got to pick and choose who you listen to, I guess, is the bottom line on that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And also conferences, last week I was just at the Multifamily Investor Nation conference in Charlotte, and it was great. There's always a lot of energy at those. People are excited. They have new ideas that you haven't thought of. It's just refreshing. There's always like happy hours and different events, dinners you can do together. And I always walk away not only with a new idea, new education, but just new connections and potential partners. Like last week, I think there's 4 to 5 different groups that I'm considering working with in the future. Well, see, it's going to take a lot of time and vetting before we would move forward, but that's really one of the best spaces for getting rejuvenated and feeling like, man, I'm not in this alone, because being an entrepreneur can feel a little lonely at times.
It sure can. Yes.
Having those connections is just key.
Couldn't agree more. Now, Rebekah, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Absolutely. So I am very active on LinkedIn. Connect with me there. My name is spelled, you can see right above, it's Rebekah Taylor. So definitely connect with me there. I'm on Facebook. It's called Tailored Investments. And my website's almost done. It's tailoredinvestments.co. And so it's under construction, but we're working on that now. And so definitely connect with me there. Or my email is yourtailoredhome@gmail.com, which is my last name, Taylor, Your Tailored Home.
That's incredible. And Rebekah, thank you so much for joining us and sharing with us your experience. And we really look forward to watching your growth here as you move forward here.
Thank you, Doug. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you.
Time.
You bet.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.